Homosexuality is a big topic in today's society due to its exaggeration in the media. Now, whether that means it's a good issue or you concede to know that everything happening with them is good, that's not always the case. Especially in this one. Due to this speech, I had to learn more about the discrimination against him, and it's kind of wild. Knowing that they're not just discriminated against in the world, they're discriminated against in the workforce is completely crazy. Just due to their sexuality and just how they are. It's crazy to know through reading these 3 articles about it. It's crazy to know how discriminated they are against. Just like in the Chicago journals, it's shown that openly gay men are most likely the ones that are going to lose a pay raise just because of the inequality due to their sexuality. To me, it's very different. It's very crazy to know that they're discriminated against due to who they are. And for me personally, I have never had this experience. I've never been able to experience what they have. But where I go to school, there are some people like this. And they are treated completely different than anyone else in the school. And it's very odd to see. And it's very inspiring to see in how they treat it. And just the whole topic in general is kind of something completely different and out of my norm. But reading these articles, I was able to learn more about how it's different in the workforce for them and how unfairly they've been treated. And it's shown, again, from the Chicago journals that discrimination in the workforce is a bigger issue than we've ever thought about, because that's not really talked about in the media. What's talked about in the media is the marriage portion of it, not the discrimination in jobs or in schools or just in general. So, reading these 3 articles, I was able to learn about the discrimination in schools and discrimination in other places around the world, not just in the United States. Because in other countries, in the other continents such as Europe, they are very, very discriminated against. That's a big issue there because it's not seen as much. Here it's become a norm, but there it's not. And to have a norm around here, it's very just, you don't see it the way that they do. The way they see it is you are completely different. And here you don't as much. Like I said, in my school, we do have some people like that, but they aren't seen as really that different. We do treat them the same, and that's the good thing about being a norm here. They aren't discriminated against as much when they're my age because it's a norm. But in other countries, it's not a norm. And so it's very different for somebody to be seen as that there. And just like in the workforce there, it's different. They're discriminated against. Their salaries are cut because they're not like everybody else. And so for them, it's just that they have to find a way to get the equality they've been fighting for. And in recent years in the United States, they have been fighting for equality like nobody's business. They have been fighting for it very hard. And luckily for them, with the way they've been fighting, they have got some of the things they wanted. Like, they got a legal protection system. that they were able to fight for and receive from the government, and other places aren't having that because it's not a norm as here, like I said. But discrimination against them is not what everybody thinks it is. They think, oh, you're just discriminated against because of who you are, and it's just harder for them. It's way harder for them because they experience it every day while we don't. We don't get to experience it because that's not who we are. We're not them. We aren't gonna be discriminated against because of that issue. Yes, we might be discriminated against somehow, but we don't get the discrimination they do because some of us aren't like them. And so by reading this, I was able to receive that knowledge and learn way more about the discrimination, what they have to deal with in a day or in a lifetime than what I have to experience because I don't have that issue. So after reading those articles, I was able to learn greatly about the discrimination against openly gay men in the workforce, discrimination of students, and the discrimination of homosexuals in other countries. By being able to learn more, I get a greater understanding of how important this is and why it needs to be dealt with in a great and orderly manner.